Right now, as you sit there, listening to the sound of my voice, part of your mind is here. But another part, it is miles away. It is replaying a difficult conversation from yesterday. It is rehearsing a worry about tomorrow. It is scrolling, mentally, through a list of cores, of insecurities, of what-ifs, and the most extraordinary thing. You likely did not even notice it happening. That is the quiet sabotage. That is your brilliant, beautiful brain, working against your ability to be truly present in your own life, without your conscious permission. You see, our minds are built for survival, not for serenity. They are prediction machines, constantly scanning the past for lessons and the future for threats. This was essential when the threat was a saber-toothed tiger. But now, that same machinery treats an unanswered email, or a casual comment, with the same biochemical urgency. It pulls you out of this precious, present moment and into a story it is writing about the past, or a movie it is directing about the future. We believe we are living our lives, but so often, we are living in the commentary about our lives. The narrator in your head is not you. It is a voice that critiques, compares, and catastrophizes. And while it chatters away, the sun is setting outside your window without you seeing it. The person speaking to you is sharing their heart, and you are only half hearing them. The taste of your morning coffee is lost to the mental rehearsal of your morning meeting. Your brain is convincing you that this constant mental traffic is necessary. That to be productive, to be safe, to be worthy, you must dwell and you must plan. But in doing so, it steals from you the only thing you truly ever have, this moment. The sound of laughter, the feeling of your own breath, the quiet miracle of being alive right now. The good news is this: awareness is the antidote to sabotage. You cannot stop the waves of thought, but you can learn to stop drowning in them. You can, in a single breath, choose to come back, to feel your feet on the ground, to listen, not just to the words being said, but to the silence between them. To see not just the object, but the light dancing upon it. When you catch your brain pulling you into yesterday or tomorrow, you do not have to follow. You can gently say, "Not now, I am here." That simple act is a homecoming. It is a reclaiming of your own attention, your own experience, your own one wild and precious life. So beginning today, I invite you to become the observer of that magnificent, mischievous mind of yours. Notice its tricks. And with that noticing, choose presence. Choose this moment. Because your life is not happening yesterday. It is not happening later. It is happening now. And you, my friend, deserve to be here for all of it. The silent sabotage is perhaps the most pervasive yet unnoticed phenomenon of our modern lives. It begins with a fundamental truth about our magnificent brains. They were not engineered for our current world of constant connection and comparative peace. Our minds are exquisite survival machines honed over millennia to protect us from immediate physical threats. Their primary function is not to grant us serenity or presence, but to ensure we live to see another day. To do this, they operate as relentless prediction engines. They constantly scan the stored archives of our past, looking for patterns of pain and pleasure, lessons learned, and dangers avoided. Simultaneously, they project us into hypothetical futures, simulating potential outcomes to shield us from harm and prepare us for action. This mechanism was brilliant when the threat was a predator in the tall grass. The problem is that our brain's alarm system has not meaningfully updated its software. It now applies that same intense biochemical urgency that once mobilized us to flee a tiger to an unanswered email, a critical comment from a colleague, or a worrying headline on our phone. Without your conscious permission, your mind pulls you from the present moment. It drags you into a vivid rerun of yesterday's awkward conversation, replaying your words and cringing at perceived missteps. Or it catapults you into tomorrow's board meeting, having you mentally practice your presentation, while also imagining every possible question that could unravel you. This is the sabotage. You are sitting in your car at a red light, but you are not there. You are at dinner with a loved one, but you are miles away wrestling with a future problem that has not even arrived. The present moment, which is the only place where life actually occurs, becomes a blurry backdrop to this internal drama. The greatest trick the brain plays is making this constant mental time travel feel not just normal but necessary. It convinces you that to be responsible, safe, and successful you must dwell, and you must plan incessantly. It frames this rumination as productive worry, and this rehearsal as essential preparation. In doing so, it steals from you the texture of your own life, the sound of genuine laughter, the feeling of the sun on your skin, the quiet understanding in a friend's eyes, all exchanged for the faint shadow of an experience that is not even real. This is the quiet hijacking of your attention, and most insidiously you often do not realize it has happened until long after the moment has passed. And add perfect commas and full stops. We often mistake the relentless narration in our minds for our true lived experience. But there is a profound and crucial difference. We believe we are living our lives, but so much of the time we are actually living inside the commentary about our lives. This internal narrator is a constant companion, offering a running critique, a comparison to others, a rehearsal of conversations, and a judgment on every event. It speaks in the first person, using I and me, which makes its voice incredibly convincing. We so easily fuse with this voice that we forget it is merely a thought-generating function of the brain, not the totality of who we are. This narrator is not you in your essence. It is a mental construct built from your past experiences, your fears, your conditioning, and your aspirations. Its primary goal is not to connect you to the present but to analyze, categorize, and create a coherent story from the raw data of your existence. While you walk through a park, the real experience is the crunch of leaves underfoot, the chill of the autumn air, the play of light through the branches. The narrator, however, is busy saying, "I should have worn a heavier coat," or, "This reminds me of that walk last year," or "I need to remember to call my sister later." The direct sensory input, the pure presence, is filtered through and often drowned out by this secondary layer of mental chatter. We then respond not to the world itself, but to the story our mind is telling us about the world. Someone makes a brief, offhand remark, and the narrator spins it into a tale of disrespect or hidden meaning, triggering a real emotional and physiological response to a fiction it has just authored. We see a friend's success on social media, and the narrator instantly crafts a narrative of our own inadequacy, pulling us from our present contentment into a manufactured state of lack. This commentary becomes a barrier between us and reality, a pane of dusty glass, through which we perceive a distorted version of events. We miss the subtle expressions on a loved one's face, because we are listening to our own internal rebuttal to what they said 3 sentences ago. We fail to taste our food, because we are lost in the narrator's review of our day. Life becomes something we think about rather than something we inhabit. The richness, the depth, the raw and unfiltered beauty of the present moment is traded for a pale, second-hand description. To awaken to your life, you must learn to distinguish between the sensory reality happening now and the story your mind is superimposing upon it. You must notice the voice, acknowledge its presence, and then gently choose to return your attention to the direct experience of sight, sound, touch, and feeling that exists before the commentary begins. That is where true presence resides, in the quiet space before the narrator claims the stage. The cost of this habitual mental time travel is a quiet impoverishment of our lived experience, a subtle theft we often fail to account for until we sense a profound absence. While our brain convinces us that its constant projection and replay are forms of productive vigilance, the bill comes due in the currency of our own lives. We trade the tangible, sensory world for a speculative phantom, and in doing so, we miss the very moments that give life its texture and meaning. The sunset unfolds in a silent explosion of color outside your window, but you are mentally trapped in a stressful conversation from the afternoon, seeing neither the gold nor the crimson. A friend shares a vulnerable story, their eyes conveying emotions words cannot capture, but you are half listening, preoccupied with crafting your own clever response, or worrying about an unrelated obligation. The warm, bitter taste of your morning coffee, the steam rising from the cup, the simple ritual of that first sip. These are lost, buried on the mental rehearsal of your upcoming presentation. This is the true expense. We become spectators in our own stories, living a diluted version of reality, filtered through layers of thought and commentary. Our relationships suffer because presence is the most fundamental gift we can offer another person. Without it, we are merely two monologues happening in the same room, missing the connection that sparkles in the shared, unspoken now. Our creativity dims because inspiration does not speak in the noisy corridors of past regrets or future anxieties. It whispers in the quiet immediacy of the present. Our sense of peace erodes because peace can only ever be found here, in this breath, not in the imagined resolution of tomorrow's problems. We chase happiness as a future destination, a point on the horizon when everything will align, and in that relentless chase, we overlook the small, available joys that exist only in the immediate. The feeling of a deep breath filling your lungs, the genuine laughter of a child, the comforting weight of a pet sleeping in your lap. The brain sabotage convinces us these moments are minor, mere interstitial pauses between the important tasks of dwelling and planning, but they are, in fact, the substance of which a life is built. We look back on years and wonder where they went, feeling a vague sense of having missed something. And that something is the accumulated presence we sacrificed at the altar of mental distraction. We remember the narrative we told ourselves about those years. The story of being busy, of striving, of worrying. But we have lost the visceral memories of aliveness that were available only when our attention was fully engaged with the world as it was, not as our mind narrated it to be. The cost, therefore, is nothing less than the richness of our own existence, the depth of our connections, and the quiet joy of being fully alive inside the fleeting, precious moments that are, in truth, all we ever truly have. The powerful and liberating antidote to this constant mental pull is not a forceful suppression of thought, but a gentle cultivation of awareness. You cannot stop the waves of thinking any more than you can stop the ocean's tides, for your mind is designed to generate thoughts as your lungs are designed to draw breath. The goal, therefore, is not a silent mind, but a shift in your relationship to its noise. The first and most transformative step is simply to notice. This act of noticing is the crack of light in the door of your own consciousness. It is the moment you awaken from the hypnotic dream of past and future and realize, I have been lost in thought. That simple recognition is a profound homecoming. It is you, the conscious observer, remembering itself. Awareness is the space in which thoughts arise and dissolve, and by anchoring yourself in that witnessing presence, you begin to disentangle your identity from the relentless narration. You start to see thoughts as transient mental events, like clouds passing across the sky of your awareness, rather than as absolute truths or urgent commands that must be obeyed. This creates a crucial pause, a buffer between stimulus and reaction, where choice becomes possible. Instead of being automatically swept away by a river of worry about tomorrow, you can notice the feeling of anxiety in your body. Observe the catastrophic story your mind is spinning, and gently choose not to board that train. The practice is one of gentle and patient return. Every time you notice your attention has been hijacked by mental time travel, you do so without judgment or frustration. You simply, kindly, guide your focus back to an anchor in the present moment. This anchor could be the physical sensation of your feet on the ground, the rhythmic rise and fall of your own breath, or the actual sounds entering your ears right now. This is not a failure but a repetition of the most important exercise. There is the exercise of coming home. With consistent practice, this awareness becomes stronger and more readily accessible. You begin to catch the sabotage earlier, perhaps as a faint tightening in your chest before the full-blown worry narrative takes hold, or as a subtle drifting sensation during a conversation. This is the cultivation of presence. It is the deliberate rewiring of your attention, strengthening the neural pathways that allow you to inhabit the now. It is the reclaiming of your own consciousness from the automatic pilot of survival thinking. This awareness does not dismiss planning or reflection. It simply places them in their proper context as useful tools you employ consciously, rather than prisons you inhabit unconsciously. By developing this capacity to notice, you break the spell. You step out of the commentary and back into the direct experience of your life. You become the calm, steady witness to the mind's drama, and in that witnessing, you find a freedom and a peace that no thought, no matter how persuasive, can ever take away. This gentle homecoming is the practical and compassionate act of returning to yourself when you find you have wandered. It is the application of that newfound awareness in a single, grounded moment. The process is not one of battle or forceful eviction of thought, but of kindly escorting your attention back from the distant landscapes of memory and imagination to the solid ground of the here and now. You might offer a soft internal phrase, a signal to your nervous system that the perceived emergency is over, by simply affirming, "Not now," or "I am here." This is not a criticism of your mind but a clear and gentle directive, much as you would guide a child back to the path. The true anchors for this return are always available, for they are the direct sensations of your physical existence. You feel the unwavering support of the floor beneath your feet, the subtle weight of your body in the chair, the incredible aliveness in your own hands. You notice your breath, that constant tide of life flowing in and out without any effort from your thinking mind, and you rest your attention on its natural rhythm for just a few cycles. You listen not only to the words being spoken around you, but to the silence that holds them, to the layers of sound in the room, the distant hum of the world outside. This is not an abstract concept but a sensory immersion. You taste the food on your tongue with full curiosity. You see the object before you not as a label, but as a play of light and shadow, shape and color. Each time you perform this simple act of return, you are doing the most important work there is. You are rewiring your brain's habitual pathways. You are teaching it, through repetition, that the present moment is a place of safety and information worthy of your focus. You are reclaiming your attention from its ancient default setting of scan and plan and investing it in the reality immediately before you. This homecoming is a gift you give yourself over and over again, a choice to inhabit your life as it is actually happening, rather than as a story about what was or what might be. It is in these accumulated returns that presence is built, moment by moment, breath by breath, until living here becomes more familiar than living elsewhere. In the quiet spaces between our thoughts, in the breath we finally notice, in the sensation of the world against our skin, this is where we truly live. Our brilliant minds will always have their stories, their worries, their grand plans. That is their nature. But we are not merely passengers to that noise. We are the conscious space that can observe it all. We have seen the quiet sabotage, how the mind pulls us from the now. We have recognized the narrator for what it is, a storyteller, not a commander. We have felt the cost of that absence in our relationships, our peace, and our joy. And we have discovered the profound power we hold, the gentle, unwavering power of awareness. The simple choice, in any given moment, to come home. So today, and in all the days that follow, when you feel that familiar tug into yesterday or tomorrow, do not despair. See it for what it is. Then, with all the kindness you would offer a dear friend, guide yourself back. Feel your feet on the ground. Hear the world around you. Take one conscious breath. Your life is not a rehearsal. It is happening right here, in this very breath, in this very room. Do not miss it by being lost in a commentary about it. Choose to be here. Choose to be present. For this moment, and the next, is the only place your life will ever be. And you, my friend, deserve to be here for all of it.